I also have to prepare them in the event that I and other healthcare providers are killed or incapacitated to the point where we can't help others who are wounded. I address the concepts of triage, the art of prioritizing the care of multiple injured patients into categories based on the nature of their injuries in order to achieve the best possible outcomes for the greatest number of injured passengers. This involves some very hard choices like classifying some with the most severe injuries as hopeless, while others who are more salvageable are classified as emergent or urgent, or can wait a while, based on the pattern and severity of their injuries. Thanks to the Israeli incursion into Beit Hanan, Gaza, in November 2006, I have multiple graphic digital photographs and DVD movies of Palestinians who have suffered serious traumatic injuries, to illustrate my teaching points on how to prioritize and provide first aid for various injuries. A lot of us from the USA in particular, and the West in general, find these images hard to digest. We live in a strange country. In our media, we have graphic depictions and images of fictitious gratuitous violence combined with stories of evil and heroism all the time, to get us used to the idea that violence is somehow okay. A lot of our citizens are then persuaded to join the armed forces, based on media fantasies about American heroism and evil abroad. But when it comes to graphic depictions and images of real violence, we are sheltered, because these images are considered in poor taste, and they are not aired. If they were aired in the West, I feel that the average citizen might become more alarmed, and might not stand for any more of it. That is why the promoters of endless war in the Middle East and elsewhere, that is, those who profit from war, do not want us to see the real violence, because it would undermine their bottom line, and expose the humanitarian absurdity of our so-called war on terror. This would cut into their sacred war profits, so they try to treat us as mushrooms, and keep us in the dark about the real horror of it all. I'm sorry if this sounds overly cynical. So after scaring the shit out of my colleagues, I must also try and cheer them up. On Saturday evening after dinner, we are scheduled to have the next day off. So, I play disc jockey and set up a dance party out in the courtyard as the sun goes down, the heat of the day dissipates, and the crescent moon rises over the college campus. I also provide a lot of gratuitous and self-deprecating humor as a positive coping mechanism, while shamelessly encouraging joke telling. In order to cope with the extremely serious, we must also promote the extremely silly. We need time to unwind, lighten up, and get to know and nourish each other. Some of our crew venture off campus and bring back refreshments. Some of these refreshments contain forbidden fruit that has become fermented. This kind of behavior turns a few heads, as we had previously agreed to certain norms or principles of unity before joining the Free Gaza movement. Among these principles are no profanity, no sex, no alcohol, or other vices. But as the boats are delayed for indefinite time periods, it becomes harder for some of us to hold the line as model citizens or saints, which we are not. So these principles become modified to none of these vices while we are on the boats or in Gaza. I discover that the Greek spirit called ouzo is something that can really get ahead of you, and you should be very careful about it. It does help to dance a lot and burn off some of these evil spirits. As DJ for a multicultural and multi-ethnic audience of all different ages, I also discover that Abe Lincoln was right. You can please some of the people all of the time, and all of the people some of the time, but you can't please all of the people all of the time. As we traverse traditional American jazz standards like Billie Holiday, Louis Armstrong, Benny Goodman, and Count Basie, traditional and contemporary Greek music, Cuban sun, reggae, and traditional Lebanese standard artists like Feroz and more contemporary ones like the Four Cats, I'm interrupted by international college students who want to play their own music of which I know nothing. One group's cacophony is another group's classic. Somehow we all get through the mix, which proves enjoyable night after night, and we learn more and more about each other. Those who are not inspired filter back to the dorms to pursue other projects or to go to bed early. Then there are the night owls who gather outside the basement dorm at the base of apartment 4. They spend the wee hours outside on the patio drinking tea, smoking cigarettes, and working on banners that we will hang from the side rails of our boats. We will employ these banners as we leave and enter Cypriot and Gazan ports, and or if we are confronted by media at sea or Israeli naval forces. We all bring different skills to this mission, and I'm amazed by the artistic abilities of some of the night crew. Among this late night / early morning crew are Johnny, Alice, Adam, Eliza, Visa, Andrew, Donna, Mariah, and Mushia. Night crew working this and Rashid. Early one morning some suspicious individuals are spotted on campus by the late night crew. It was about 3 AM. My friends ask them who they are, and they claim that they are architects who were driving by from Larnaca and stopped because they were impressed by the architecture. My colleagues refer them to campus security, but they never show up. Some of my friends try to follow them, but they disappear. Israeli spies? I don't know. I was asleep when it happened. Your guess is as good as mine. But their behavior was certainly peculiar. From hidden ports on the Greek mainland, through Aegean waters, toward international media attention in Crete. Petros Giatis. Friday, the 8th of August. Today is the day. I have a friend who will drive me to Eritrea at daybreak and get my car back to Athens. I packed a few things in a small bag, but I'm feeling anxious that I have forgotten something. Luckily, I didn't forget my laptop, my cassette recorder, or my camera. Giagus wants to come and see the boat. On the ferry, we have a chat and arrange communication through the internet. I'll write a piece every day, and the comrades will upload them on our and other websites. Everybody is asleep on the boat except the night watchman. The crew and passengers have been on continuous watch at this stage ever since the Aegeus Nikolaos, SS Liberty, was launched from its berth. I introduce Giagus and Arlene, we talk for a while, then he leaves, and I start working. There are quite a few jobs to be completed, mainly things on deck, involved with passenger comfort. On a fishing boat, you cannot expect to have many creature comforts. The day is feverish. Marcus and I work on the board and finish installation of lights. Ken deals with the rest of the woodwork. He is a real master of his craft. Darlene has a knack for the nitty-gritty and knows the location of all kinds of screws. We should be leaving today. Ken and I can look after the rest en route to Cyprus. At noon we load foodstuffs, mainly water. Marcus has doubled the quantity of estimated water needed. You can manage without food at sea, but never without water. Marcus and Nikos inform us, you aren't sailors. The boat will be topsy-turvy, even when the sea is calm, so mind what you are eating. You only need pretzels, cheese, olives, honey, and lots of water. These are Mediterranean products, actually. For more than 3,000 years, local people have sailed the seas feeding on such blessed natural products. Vangelis joins us at noon, smiling. He's got all the paperwork. The boat is legal. No Greek authority can stop us. It's been a real battle against red tape through various Greek governmental regulatory bureaus. Very few people could know what Vangelis has been through until he finally got all the paperwork. The rest had a simpler-minded impression that they boarded two boats that were bought, as if you were buying a couple of used cars. Our mission owes a lot to Vangelis, since he's been the coordinator of the operative aspect, the person who discovered, bought, and changed two simple fishing boats into passenger-carrying vessels. He is the one who took all the risks, financial, political, and legal. Apart from traveling by ferry and in his car, he sometimes had to commute using buses in case he was being followed. We were all later informed that Mossad spent a pretty penny in attempts to trace the boats. They searched in Cyprus, Turkey, Egypt, and Greece, but they found nada. Our boats were well hidden in two territorial shipyards and guarded by trusted people. The Zionists' money was spent in vain. I would, by the way, like to refer honorably and with lots of gratitude to a few other people, men and women, who worked zealously and with great devotion during all those months of preparation without taking a direct part in the mission as being passengers. These humble people don't want their names to be mentioned as they believe they were only doing their duty. It was noon when we got the official departure document from the Eritrea Port Police. Officially, Vangelis would be the captain as the owner of a private entertainment boat. Vangelis himself had to leave the Aegeus Nikolaos though, to inspect the departure of Dimitris K. SS Free Gaza, from Spetses Harbor. He will travel to Chania on it, where we will make our first stop and officially announce that these other boats that will be breaking the siege of Gaza, we can finally brag a bit, can't we? Even when the boats reach Chania, neither Mossad nor the Greek authorities will know about the mission. Our good old clandestine methods have once again proven fruitful. At 2000 hours, when it is getting cooler, Aegeus Nikolaos pulls up anchor and starts out of the Gulf of Eritrea heading south. Nikos Barlos is the captain, and Ken Akif, the first mate. Marcus and Nikos continue our intensive on-the-job training of the crew, as we are finally underway. Many of us, Greek and foreigner, are fast becoming sailors. We are all exhausted but satisfied. The only things we worry about now are engine problems, since this boat is sailing on a long voyage after many years. Not to worry, though. Nikos, a chemist by profession and able sailor, has sufficient knowledge of engine matters to act properly if need be. The route is also full of islands. We may go ashore and carry out further repairs if Nikos is an able fixer problem. The trip to Chania would be the final test for the boat and will show us its weak points. Then we can act accordingly. After Crete, we have to sail in the open sea for 2 days to Cyprus, and then it will take another day and a half to Gaza. We set the work shifts on the wheel. Giannis Karipidis gets night shift. I'm too excited and can't sleep, so I take first shift. I haven't steered a boat before in my life. It's nothing like driving a car. Marcus joins us. We'll make a short detour and disembark him near his place in Raphina, east of Athens. He converses with Ken and Nikos all the time. He gives them instructions. It is past midnight and we get near the bright lights of Raphina. The boat reduces speed, closes in on the pier, and Marcus takes a leap onto the pier without the even having to stop. That looks incredible to us land people, for we are not sea wolves. I finally go to bed. The hum of the engine and the gentle rocking of the boat put me into a deep sleep. Saturday, the 9th of August. I wake up at 6 in the morning, make myself a cup of coffee, and go to the bridge. Takis Politis, our best steersman, is at the wheel. He doesn't make too many detours, which shortens of our trip and more importantly lowers our fuel costs. 2 hours later, I discover that we aren't getting any power from the engine generator. I wake Nikos. He sees that the fan belt is broken. We hold a quick meeting and decide not to go ashore for repairs, so that we won't waste time getting to Crete. We are off the coast of Melos. We start up the mobile deck generator and presto, we have power on board again. In the meantime, the GPS batteries are out, there is a wrong handling of things, and there's no way to steer the boat electronically. Nikos shows me how to sail using the compass, the good old traditional and reliable way of navigation for an experienced seaman. Later on, we radio the GPS manufacturer, and they give us explicit instructions on how to repair the GPS. We are having lovely weather. There's almost no wind. At times, a light north breeze pushes us on, increasing the speed to 10 knots. We only want to use 8 knots so as not to dodge the engine. Off the coast of Seriphus we see some Mediterranean dolphins. 2 of them approach the boat swimming playfully. Nikos, who adores ancient Greek mythology, mentions amphitrite dolphins. She was the wife of Poseidon, the Greek god of the sea. He starts whistling, and the dolphins gather round the boat, jumping and diving all the time, while our foreign friends frantically take pictures and video them. Well, the first serious mistake has been made. The deck generator, which was not intended for constant work, is now our primary power source. 2 hours before arriving in Chania, it breaks down. Now we can only get power from the batteries, and we definitely must not turn on any lights, since the power supply is sufficient only for the boat dashboard on the bridge.